Welcome back for the Divine Feminine Predictions. Are you crazy or just ready? We're going to get into context of what that means. And trust me, this relates to me too. So I will be careful to actually view this reading after and through this week. For those of you that don't know, I am Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. I am a psychic medium, clairvoyant, and intuitive astrologer, as well as I cover your twin flame path online. If you do want a booking, or to view our website, jump down to the links below. We also have our Sage Inner Circle Network membership. So if you want to sign up, all the information is directly below. Now we're going to get into this read. I sat here and literally I absorbed the cards, and then I went to type it in and ER popped up. The settings jumped through and I went, that's interesting. Because we have you coming into this week really pondering like you're ready to be the full card in tarot. And I want you to go and take a look at the Divine Masculines read, because honestly, I would say since the end of February, I have noticed a distinct pattern shifting within the masculine and feminine. More than likely, I will start really seeing some significant changes, especially with my bookings with the twin flame path, because I do see a lot of duality happening here. Now, as I mentioned, I was writing in it, are you ready? And as I typed ready, it jumped over to the end of it and then jumped back again and it wrote ER. And that's the first message I got from you guys is, okay, you're thinking, am I crazy here? Am I ready? Am I crazy? Like, what, am I tripping? Now, we're looking at you. Now, we've got mortality in reverse. And, you know, one of the messages that was coming through in one of the readings was a cat has 9 lives and we were at the 8. And I think that was coming through for the Divine Masculine. I think in the context for you, where you energetically are is this is a new chapter. But the thing is, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm hearing the Katy Perry song, Never Really Over. And sometimes we can be really baffled by that. We're like, oh my God, you know, I just move on with my life and then I'll hear from them. You may have one of those circumstances playing out. And some of you, especially if it's been gospelly a long time, you can be thinking, look, it's over. I just need to move forward. However this lands, it's going to be individual for each of you because it does depend where you are on your ascension path. And if you do want help with that, like I said, you can come through. We can check on with your path and we can see where you are via the booking page. Now, with this card, I'm seeing that life is brief. Again, you know, this is a question mark of have, you know, I can't say you haven't given it enough. Okay, I have been on this point myself. There is a new chapter that is coming through. There is apprehension. And sometimes we can get to a point just when we've had so much purging or so much crap, we're like, you know, I just can't do it anymore. Somehow that heart, especially I would say from last week, it was a lot of heart chakra activation. For good or bad, you know, because when we're going into the Chiron energy, the heart chakra, we're sometimes uncovering some hurts. But in healing it, it opens bigger and bigger, even though what we want to do is go put it in a cage and say, look, you're naughty. We're not going there again. We're just not doing that because you know what? It messes us up. And a reference pointed Rapunzel letting her hair down or staying in her tower and getting stuck. And I think, you know, especially from looking at your past position, you've kept up so far, right? You do not need to be perfect for reconciliation, especially if you're looking at this point in time and saying, you know, how refined do I need to be? Like fine wine or, you know, pure oil? How refined do I need to be? Do I have time at the moment? And, you know, for a lot of us, it is that time is speeding up. I feel that for some of you, you're underestimating the divine that you are to be. And I think some of you are going to have grand surprises. Wherever Gaia is taking you on this journey, they're like, you're thinking too small. Sometimes we get too 3D. We might be looking at the news, we might be looking at the things happening in the world, and we're like, oh, I've got to play small. I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing the polar opposite. I think for many of you, you're underestimating your pure potential and everything that is to be. And I don't want you to. I want you to really looking at this and and break that glass ceiling, okay? Because there's something in that with your potential that I feel that you're underestimating. It's funny, this card, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, and it's almost have a prize. The card's in reverse in your belief systems. And again, I think you're going through this reflection point. I think that you're like, okay, do I try again? This could be with a myriad of things. I do feel this also has a context of your connection, but I'm definitely thinking, like, do you believe in life after love? Like, do you believe in a second chance? Do you believe in a fresh start, or going back and dealing with something again to get a better outcome? Is it physically possible? And I think you're looking at that. You're like, has it cost me too much? Do I have the energy to give? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And they're saying it's sometimes we are given these hurdles. Given these hurdles, and they do refine you. And look at her sitting there. She's like sitting there pondering behind a backdrop that looks like Van Gogh, and that your best is yet to come, honestly. It is to do with the star. Shine bright like a candle. You will make it through this. And I'm looking at this person, they've got the tools, right? They're sitting there. It's about what they're going to do next. Sometimes we're so bloody fatigued from everything we've been through, we don't know if we've got the next juice in the tank for it. And I think it's about psychology has a lot involved with this. If we're super tired, we are definitely not going to look at our path like that looks like a great path to walk. We're going to look at it like Hansel and Gretel. Where did I leave those crumbs? And we expect less of ourselves, but we can only give less because we're tired. So, I would say, in this big leap of faith you're about to take, this big bold new chapter you're about to forge, I want you to be open-minded. I want you to go back to the inner child magic. What lit you up in life? Feed your soul that for a little bit. Is it tinkering with paint? Is it cooking? Is it curling up on a couch and watching a movie? Nurturing yourself simultaneously, looking at your passions. Do you like to go to the art gallery? Do you like to listen to music? Do you need to listen to some motivation tracks? But also, don't underestimate something that you want to bring into the world. It's been a long time. Even looking at this card, I can directly relate. I did push myself at a point in my ascension path to just so focus on business or purpose, which really energetically fulfilled me. But it did not mean that the hurt, the shadow, the memory wasn't there. Okay. And we do look at this person, and like in a few of the cards, you literally can see the tears welling up in this individual's eyes. And, sometimes we think nobody quite gets that. Nobody quite gets the hell that you go through on this path. And like they say, would I say it's lonely at the top? Are we at the top? No, not yet. The best is yet to come. But when you tell somebody, and you'll especially see this in tarot, you'll especially see this with psychic channeled messages and in astrology, and we know this for certain in manifestation. Somebody can come to you and tell you something, and you're like, maybe in a past life. I remember going to a girlfriend's house, and I never knew anything to do with twin flame path. And yes, I've been on the path for a long time. And this friend of mine, she'd get readings from me all the time. And I went over and she was dating somebody, and we sat back. The kids were having a sleepover together. I had a daughter, she had kids. And we were sitting there, and she had this new boyfriend over, and she sat down and she wanted to give me a card reading. And we were just going to have an evening because it was off the weekend. And we've sat back out the back, and she's pulled these cards for me, and she goes, "Oh, you got a twin flame." And I went, "What's that?" And even back then, I didn't clock on. And she goes, it's a deep spiritual connection, like a past life connection. I went, "Yeah, well, I've always known that deep subconsciously within." And she said to me, "Yeah, this person's coming back." And I went, "Nah, this person's not coming back." I said, she goes, "Oh, maybe it's somebody else." I said, "I believe sometimes we meet somebody who is for a lifetime, and once that's done, it's done." And it reminded me of my grandmother. She married, and my grandfather became a prisoner of war. And when he came back, God rest his soul, he passed of cancer. And she never remarried. And she said, I would always ask her, I'd say, "Why did you never remarry?" And she goes, "Look, I met everything in one. I had everything I had ever desired." And she goes, "So I actually am very, very happy with my life." And I believe when I met this person, this is pretty much where I was at. I was single parent, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the Rapunzel. I'm just gonna sit this one out. And that very much did come up for Divine Feminine last week. I think when I was told that initially, I didn't believe it. And sure enough, I went home and I said to her, "Look, for some, there's one, for others, there's many. And for me, it's like it's done its number, it is where it is." And I went home, and I remember getting upset like these cards, tears in the eyes. And I was like, you know what? If you can't give me this person, give me someone like them with their shit together. And sure enough, it happened. And simultaneously, that same day that I told this person about this individual, so I'd met somebody new, and I was very surprised. I had a phone call from my twin simultaneously. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It was just so friggin' bizarre. What I'm trying to say is sometimes we don't tend to see the manifestation till later. Sometimes in life it is about timing. And, it does take people to be ready. Sometimes, we don't know what these connections are. For some of you, I have had people actually exit their twin flame path and move on. I've had people then years later have the person pop back up again. It's a soul contract. Do I see right now you're at that crosswire? You're like, I'm hearing shit, but I'm not saying shit. Yes. What we don't want to do, and I think the more we go through our ascension path, is we never want to hurt anyone. So a moment of regret. It's like looking at it and saying, I need to be, regardless of my fears, not just picking something because it's easy, but picking something because it's authentic to you. So it's like I too recall after all the years of hell, which I've been on the path 25 years and beyond. I was like, hell no, do I ever want to hurt anyone? It's never been my intention. And the right way comes up. We're seeing this here. So it's like, you know what? I do not want any more karma. I don't. I want to eliminate as much karma in this lifetime as possible. Can I make somebody else into a king? Yes, but unless it fits, don't make it. You know, the right way. But you've got to be honest. Sometimes what happens is your heart is saying TF, your energy of protection is saying, I'm moving forward, I'm finding somebody safe. You know, nothing's safe. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's not to say that you can't have happiness somewhere, you can. But if it's through, if we haven't dealt with the wounds, basically, what's going to happen is it'll co-create another relationship. So we're not ever needing to be perfect. But I do see right now, you guys are made for greatness. Don't shrink yourself. Don't think you can't have your dreams. Don't think because you hear a reading that it's just never going to happen for you, because you know you're just the oddball that it can't happen for you, because it really can't. It really can't. We're going to check in with this energy next week. Do your best to transition through this frequency. Be optimistic and open-minded. When you want support, you can call your guides in. I'd love to hear how this week has transitioned for you. And we will look in with the masculine, feminine, and karmic next week. Otherwise, if you do want a booking, you can go to the website. All information and links can be found directly below, as well as sign up to our Sage Inner Circle network for all the pre-release content, support, and e-learning ahead, as well as webinars. I'll see you soon.